What dire warning from your parents turned out to be bullshit? When you press the red button with the triangle in the car, all the doors fall off. That my two choices in life were either Harvard or McDonald's. Sheesh. Bit of a gray area in between those two extremes. If you get in trouble at school, it will go on your permanent record and ruin your life. Not once has anyone, from college admissions to prospective employers to loan officers, so much as mentioned the legendary permanent record. That if I used one brand of shampoo and a different brand of conditioner that my hair would fall out. Also, when I was 5 or 6, I asked what would happen if you went the opposite way that you turned the turn signal. My mom told me the car would explode and kill us. Not sure why she told me that. I was born left-handed. My pops used to smack the shit out of me if I used my left hand, in essence forcing me to be right-handed. I had to constantly remind myself to use the hand with my birthmark to avoid smacks. As an adult, I asked my pops why he forced me to be right-handed, and he gave some tepid response about, when you're left-handed you'll have a tendency to pull that way when you're driving, exposing you to oncoming traffic. Sounded like bullshit to me, and is confirmed by all the left-hand driver as the world that don't spontaneously drive into oncoming traffic. If anyone has any ideas, I'd love to know. For reference, my pops is an old-school Vietnamese dude. I feel like it's a cultural thing. But I was raised American and have no frocking idea. I would be unemployable if I didn't learn cursive handwriting. Parents and teachers made me think that every job interview would have a cursive test in which they would measure the loops on the L's or something. If you unscrew your belly button, your bum will fall off. I did my best to avoid screwdrivers for a large part of my childhood because I lacked the willpower not to stuff them into my belly button. I was terrified at the thought of losing my bum but intrigued by the possibility. We can't pay $1 to go in the haunted house because they might not have a bathroom in there. What if you have to go to the bathroom? Just admit you're cheap. Dad. My mom warned me as a kid that eating the loose pieces of dried ramen from the pack would make me deathly ill. I kept doing it with no problems. One day she said that in front of my dad when I was a teen, and he just gave her this. WTF are you talking about? Look. My ex-stepdad owned a restaurant where I worked as a busboy when I was a teenager. He was always very tough on me, berating my work, etc., while telling me that he was going easy on me. And when I got a job in the real world, his favorite phrase, my bosses would be so much tougher on me. I quit a month before my 16th birthday and went to work at the local Dairy Queen and found out he was full of shit. My mom left him shortly after that, thankfully. If I cross my eyes, they might end up staying like that. Edit. Disclaimer. Some comments I've received believe this to be true. I'm no expert, but did a quick Google search which also said it was a myth. Cross your eyes at your own risk. When we would go to the beach, I would never want to get out of the water, so my mom told me that staying in the water too long would make me waterlogged. She said she could look into my eyes and see the level of water in my system. If the water raised above my iris, that meant I had to get out and let the water drain before I would drown. I believed this for far too long. My mom would always tell me, take that look off your face or it will freeze like that when I was little. I took that as fact. I really wanted dimples like my friend down the street, so I would sit in my room with pencil erasers pushed into my cheeks forever. No dimples still. Dash. Watching TV will turn your brains into mush. I thought they meant literally. If you play too many video games, you'll have to get little braces on your fingers. Mom, the kid at the cash register at the grocery store had them because he played too many video games. Boys only want one thing from girls. Be careful in high school. That's all the boys will want to do. Turns out the one thing all the boys I hung out with wanted from me was a turn at playing Pokemon on my Game Boy. 1. Microwaves will give you cancer. 2. Cell phones will give you cancer. 3. Smart meters will give you cancer. 4. Wi-Fi will give you cancer. 5. Conventionally grown food will give you cancer. 6. Western medicine will give you cancer. 7. Antibiotics will give you cancer. My mom was obsessed with cancer. Edit. Forgot. Sitting near the TV will give you cancer. Then she bought a 12. Black and white TV. Bit of a self-fulfilling prophecy. Dungeons and Dragons is for devil worshippers. Am now one of the many nerds. Devil worshipping. Not really a warning, but my dad told me I was Princess Poopsalada of Lulu Island. I was maybe 4/5 and went to school bragging about how I was a princess and they better respect my authority. The school called my parents and my dad just about died from laughter. Getting less than 90% in school will make me a trash man and live a very miserable life. Edit. When I saw 100 messages on my phone, I thought it was my WhatsApp. Holy damn, I was surprised that it was Reddit. And no, they're not Asians, they're Egyptians. That if I kept picking my nose, my head would cave in. People you meet on the internet are swindlers or serial killers. Overall, the amount of people who are out there to get me and should be feared all day round was severely exaggerated. That explains some of my social problems, I guess. My parents are Korean. So fan death. When I leave my fan on at night, I feel so alive. Keep making that face and it'll get stuck like that. You won't walk around life with a calculator in your pocket. Edit. My first gold. We did it, Reddit. Thank you. Learn math because you won't be walking around with a calculator in your pocket. I'm typing right now on my calculator. I only wish I had a dire warning of any kind. In the late 70s I wanted to buy my first car. It was a 1977 Triumph TR7. It was the most unreliable car I ever owned. My dad later told me that he knew it would be a money pit, and when I asked him why he didn't warn me, he said I should learn from my mistakes. Thanks, Dad. Sniffling kills brain cells. I didn't sniff or snort, even during colds, because I was terrified I would lose my brain cells. Turns out my mom thinks sniffling is annoying and didn't want to hear it. Edit. Goal? I know it's worthless internet points, but I'm so happy my childhood emotional trauma has finally paid off. Thanks. Edit 2. Thank you for the silver. I feel validated. Edit 3. Platinum. Noise. Thank you, kind Redditor. Your generosity keeps my sniffles at bay. People who disobey their parents end up in prison. That if I ever told anyone about the abuse, I'd be taken away from them, put in a foster family, and that my foster family would rape me to death, decapitate me, and throw my head in the canal. Oh, and that the only reason why my parents didn't do the same was because they loved me. That's why my mom only beat the shit out of me every day instead of raping and murdering me. In reality, when telling people about the abuse, it's hard enough to get them to believe me, let alone do something, and I probably would have been much better off in foster care. My mom is convinced that if I don't take all honors and AP classes in high school, I'm going to drop out and not get into college. Whenever I try to drop out of a class, she emails my counselor and tells her to put me back in. Edit. Thanks for all of the supportive replies. I'll make sure to read them all when I get home from school. The world should have ended in 2012. After you betrayed me like this and you moved to that breach, you will never succeed in life. You will not graduate school. You will not work and you will fail. Dad. 8 years ago, on the phone, to 13-year-old me on the day I moved indefinitely to my mother after 9 years of abuse. I work. I graduated school and I did not fail at the stuff he said I was gonna fail at. I might have failed in other things though, but that is another story. Don't sleep with socks, you'll become blind. Don't talk to strangers on the internet. Every rice left on your plate would be a new pimple on your face. If you keep masturbating, you'll go blind. Thoroughly tested and definitively false. Oral sex is dangerous and not pleasurable for either party. Oh my, how very wrong this statement was. D&D is a satanic cult that will lure you in order to offer you up for sacrifice. Lol, no. Mom. That gay people will trick me into sex. You can't eat steak that is pink on the inside. That's how you get sick. Believed this till I was about 19, until I learned that it pretty much can be as red in the center as you like so long as it's properly seared. Turned out my mom just didn't like rare steak and felt uncomfortable making it for me and my sister, so she just lied. If you sit too close to the TV, you will go blind. I've been working in IT in front of a monitor for 20 years now. I'm 41, and still 2020. Never get in a car with a stranger. Joke's on you, Mom. I've got an app on my phone now to tell strangers I want to get in their car. I was always skinny growing up, even though a lot of my family is overweight. I also had no interest in physical activities. My parents always used to tell me that if I didn't exercise I'd start getting fat by the time I was 25. Joke's on them, I didn't start putting on weight until I was 30. Watching the TV will give you square eyes. When I was 4 years old, I took a mirror down with me whenever I went to watch TV to ensure my eyes had not gone square. 20 years later, they're still round. Complete bullshit. Don't get married. You'll regret it. Turns out they're both just as holes who can't get along with anyone. All of them. Don't talk to strangers. They'll take you into an alley and kill you for your money. Your friends don't care about you. They just want to use you for your money. Don't take that dance class. Employers will think you're weird and not hire you. If you can't tell me everything you're doing there every day, you're not taking it serious enough and I'm pulling you out of school. Dad lost his marbles a little when I went to college. Your father is a terrible man who will hurt you. No mom. Just because you had a messy divorce doesn't make him a bad person. I grew up hating him simply because my mother told me to. Around 15 I realized he was a totally chill dude and she probably made up most of the stuff she said. When I graduated HS I moved in with him. Your ears fall off if you kiss a boy. Still have both ears mom. Take that. Your passion and talent for art, games, web design, and photo manipulation won't make you any money. Go to college for something that will get you an actual career, like psychology. I graduated high school in 2007. I wanted to go to a particular college of art and design, for game design or industrial and product design. But I listened to their advice instead. They were very wrong. Gum takes 7 years to digest. This is when I figured out adults lied. 'Cause I saw it in my poop. Just couldn't tell anybody. 'Cause I saw it in my poop. You have to wait 2 hours after you eat to swim. If you don't, you'll sink. Someday you're going to have a boss and you will be fired if you speak to them the way you speak to me. First, if a boss ever abused me the way you did, mom, I'd quit. Second, I have to regularly tell my boss no and that I need her to be more reliable if I am to do the job she wants. Not only do I still have a job, I am constantly praised for the work I do. Edit. It was interesting reading all your stories. I had no idea this was so prevalent. Oh, and thanks for the gold. Boss. If you fap too much you'll grow hair on hands and God will be disappointed. You'll regret quitting piano lessons. I guess it doesn't sound that dire written out, but my mom's kind of obsessed with musical instruments and was really upset that I didn't want to find a new piano instructor after my last one retired. Anyway, I don't regret it. Kind of wish I could play the guitar, though, but I suppose it's not too late to start. Lots of anecdotes with lots of different opinions in this thread. Guess you can't know if you'll regret quitting something until you already do or don't. Ooh no, don't get a credit card. I get it. If you're really irresponsible with money they can cause trouble. However, it makes my finances so much easier. I just put everything I can on it. Make sure I don't spend money I don't have or am not expecting to get. And I get free money out of it. Pushers will offer you drugs to get you hooked. Not once. Not once. In 36 years of living all over the world has anyone offered me anything unless I sought it out. I was under the impression that drugs would be easy to come by when I got old. Nope. We had to go out and find that's it. You had to ask people. There was no internet or texting to find a hookup like you lucky kids have now. You had to talk to sketchy dudes. Maybe you'll get your weed. Maybe you'll get shot. It was a toss-up. That literally any college degree would be a guaranteed job, and the only way to get a job. I graduated in 2008, by the way. The only thing colleges care about now is which extracurricular activities you're in, so if you don't participate in any you can just forget about going to college. I never played any sports and never participated in a single club or extracurricular activity and got accepted to every single college I applied to. People are going to push you to smoke cigarettes. Everyone I've ever met who smokes and offers me a cigarette says the same thing when I tell them I don't smoke. Good for you. I wish I didn't. Don't switch jobs too often. Employers will think you have no loyalty. Men from the internet are pedophiles and will kidnap and rape you. Nah, turns out the rapist was a boy from my church who my mother thought was dreamy. And the people on the internet were the only ones who believed me. Edit. To those who are asking if I'm okay now, I am. Crisis hotlines and women's centers. If there's one thing I can ask of those who read this comment, it's to remember these stories when you're forming your opinions about trigger warnings. A trigger warning, content warning gives me a split second to get my head together before I read something. And it allows me to engage with content with far fewer flashbacks. I still want to engage in challenging, difficult content, but the warning helps. My dad used to not allow us to eat prawns when we're younger because it would make us stupid. Of course this was a lie, but I think it partly came from this idiom in my language which translates literally into prawn's brain, which means someone who is stupid. The idiom is derived from the fact that the prawn keeps its fecal matter in its head. Hence an old wives' tale lead to a prawnless life. My friends ended up ridiculing me the first time I ate it because I thought I wasn't the only one that wasn't allowed to eat prawn when I was younger. I brought you into this world. I can take you out, was my mother's favorite saying, but she never even spanked my ass. She's the sweetest lady ever. Being told I'd miss high school life when I'm older. Turning on the lights in the car while driving is illegal. Only fart in the bathroom. That's what polite people do. Then I witnessed both my grandmother and my mom farting up a storm in places like the kitchen. Meanwhile I was running to the bathroom every time. Don't go into the lake or the penis-eating fish will get you. It was total bullshit until I waded into a broken beer bottle, cut my foot and had to go to the The forest screamed with the echoes of the wiener eating fish. No. They got me. Daddy, daddy. Don't move to Colorado, it's too cold. 50 degrees yesterday but minus 20 back home. I went into a restaurant with my family once as a kid, and wouldn't stop habging off this brass line divider pole they had in there. My grandpa TPL'd me to stop because I was getting fingerprints all over it, but I wouldn't listen. So he tells me, you know, if someone comes in here right now and kills someone else with that pole, your fingerprints are gonna be on it and they're gonna think you did it and send you to jail. I immediately started crying. Refused to go anywhere near that pole. And grandpa laughed his head off while my mom and grandma scolded him for scaring me. Turns out, fingerprint evidence is somewhat dubious and in this situation likely would never be admissible in court under these circumstances. So the joke's on you, grandpa. You wily old bastard. If you go to that wedding they will turn you into a lesbian. Joke's on her. I was already sleeping with girls at that point. Don't stand in front of the microwave or you'll get paralyzed. My mom told me boogers were pieces of our brains and if I ate them I would turn into a vegetable. She meant like Terry Shivo vegetable. But I always just pictured turning into a giant talking cucumber. Eating pineapple or watermelon seeds would cause one to grow in your stomach. You're a jack of all trades but a master of none. And it used to really haunt me, as though I would never find my lot in life if I didn't focus on some single direction. I had to just put it out of my mind and get on with things. I'm 36 now. Married. Living across the country. And only a few months ago learned that the full statement is, a jack of all trades is a master of none. But oftentimes better than a master of one. That people will give me drugs to try to get me hooked. Before moving away from home my mom's final advice was, drive safe. Call me if you need anything, and no matter how bad it gets please don't do porn. Cracking your knuckles will give you arthritis. I still did it anyways but I was relieved when they proved that wrong. Don't grow your hair long. Girls think it's ugly. Stopped listening last year and every girl I know says they like my hair this long. 6 inches give or take. It used to look so bad. My mom kept dragging me to a Great Clips where they'd frock up my hair for half an hour and then slam a ton of low-quality gel into it. I saw a picture of me last year and cringed at my hair more than the SoundCloud rapper tattoos my friends drew on me with makeup. Hearing my name screamed in a blood-curdling yell from downstairs like someone just frocking died. Dinner's ready. When I was a little kid, my mother told me not to stare into the sun. So once when I was 6, I did. That I would be brutally murdered by men here in Texas because I'm bi. No. Dad. They're just creepy as holes most of the time. Another one is that doctors will kill me because I'm an organ donor. One of my favorites is that no one but him and his psycho breech wife would ever love me, including my own mother. Thank Odin my mother's sane. Don't go near a horse because they will kick you in the stomach and kill you. It's against the law to ride in your car without a specific destination in mind. Shaving your arms will give you thick man hair. I don't know why but I went through a phase around 15 that I thought I needed to shave my arms. I was weird. If you don't wear your seatbelt low across your hips. If the car stops suddenly your seatbelt will push all your organs out of your body through your mouth. Thanks for telling me that as a 6-year-old. Dad. That didn't frock me up at all. When I was like ages 13 to 16, Mom used to say things like, you won't still be friends with your friends now when you are an adult. And, don't worry about that. You won't even know those people in 10 years. I'm now 36 and my best friends. It's a group of like 6 of us, have literally been friends for over 20 years. I am closer to these guys than I am to some family. We are like a brotherhood. If you can't keep your room clean, you'll never find a husband. No one will want you if this is how you keep a house. Joke's on you, Dad. Married 4 years. Still struggle to keep my room clean. Work hard now and your future will be sorted. My parents told us that if the ice cream van is playing music while driving that means it is out of ice cream. Don't eat raw cookie dough or you will get worms in your brain. I realized later it was just to keep us from eating it on her while she baked. Took me a while to be able to fully enjoy cookie dough ice cream without her voice in the back of my mind. Thanks, Mom. My mom always told me I'd never get a date, because I hold my spoon kind of like a caveman and not a lady. Well, I'm married now with a baby. So there. These 2 gems were imparted by my mother on the first day I took the bus to school. I live in England so it was a public bus. Not a school bus. 1. If you sit by the window of a bus and look outside, someone at the bus stop will think you're staring at them and get on the bus to punch you. 2. If you sit on the top deck of the bus a strange man will wait until you're alone together, not likely at rush hour in the morning, or at school kick-out time, then rape you. Thanks. Because I wasn't already anxious about traveling on my own. It's been 10 years since then and I'm still very uncomfortable on buses. My parents told me the internet was a waste of time. I am glad I ignored them and learned how to use it anyway. My dad claimed all cars had an eject passenger button. They don't.